Okay, guys, so I'm going to give you my top tips for Claude Code. This is after about 2 to 3 months of heavy usage. Okay, so you can see just this month, for example, we've used $1,000 worth of tokens. I haven't even been coding that much this month. Last month was much more. So I want to give you guys my top tips. By the way, to do this, you do npx cc usage at latest. And these are my top tips. So Claude Code is a terminal-based directory-specific AI coding tool. This means it works within its current directory. What does that mean exactly? If I exit out of WSL, because it's now available on Windows, let's right clear. You really need to get used to working within the terminal if you want to be able to use Claude Code. So right now, if I write Claude, I am coding inside the income folder, right? Income stream surface, obviously that's what that folder is. And you can see there are 5 MCP servers which failed to connect, and there's a load of problems here like found invalid settings files, blah, blah, blah. The reason is because there's a load of weird settings files in this folder. So if you want to code with Claude Code, the first thing you need to do is make a new folder, right? So mkdir is make new directory or whatever, and then you cd inside here, right? And then if I write Claude, you'll see that there are no more issues or anything like that. Everything is working perfectly because it's a fresh coding instance. You need to know that the context is project wide. So if you're coding in this folder and then you change folder, right? If I open this now, let's say I want to open another Claude Code. If I do not cd into make a new folder first, right? Cd is change directory, then I am coding inside a whole different instance, right? So if I write Claude again here, you'll see, like I said before, there are problems with this folder because it just has so many weird settings in it from all the amounts of times I've been experimenting with Claude and Claude Desktop and Klein and MCPs and everything. Understanding the terminal and understanding directories is absolutely essential to working with Claude Code. If you, for example, git clone something, right? Let's just git clone this, right? If I don't cd first into this folder, then I'm working in a different environment again, and I'll show you this in action. And this is super important to understand. If I write Claude here, you'll see that if I write /memory, there should be nothing in the memory because I haven't set anything in the project memory, right? But because I've been coding with Claude Code, right? If I instead cd into Shopify AI Overlord and then write Claude, right? And then I write /memory, you'll see on GitHub there is a .claude file, right? So if I write /memory, you'll see that my project memory has been brought over. So this is how you get continuity between coding sessions. You actually commit and push your .claude folder to your GitHub repo. It follows that repo around. So even if I sent it off to another dev and they pulled this, they would understand what's going on, or Claude Code would understand what's going on, because this folder, this memory has been passed over. So that's one thing that's really key to note. Now, the second tip I have is put behaviors or workflows in memory and put specifics as prompts. This allows you to make universal workflows where you can make the same thing over and over. So let me just talk a little bit about what that looks like. You put inside /memory, inside this file here, you put behavior, right? How you want Claude to behave. Now I have a really good example of this. I've been talking about this the last few videos that I've made. So in this video here, rip bolt plus level or try this MCP stack instead. Basically, I talk about how you can make a generator of Next.js service websites. So it's a use case, right? You could do WordPress, you could do WordPress directory website, you could do a Next.js directory website. You could make a very specific prompt, and then you put the specifics in the conversation with Claude Code, right? So what that looks like. Okay, so this is an example from that video that I made, right? This prompt here is a very specific workflow that I've created and is available for free on that video. In the description, there is a link to a Google document which contains this workflow. Basically, this is the behavior that I want it to do and how I want to do it. And then in XML tags here, there are the specifics of the specific website that I want it to build. So services, languages, etc. So what does that look like? So service information, plummet in New York. Services, just think of them languages, English and Spanish. Locations, just think of them. And then contact details, just use placeholders for now. And then if you look in the specifics of this behavioral prompt, which is inside the memory of Claude, you'll see that it says use DigitalOcean, etc. to launch the website, blah, blah, blah. So if I actually go on DigitalOcean, it used GitHub for me. I didn't have to do anything, right? It literally just made the website. And then I said, okay, now push the website to main, right? Or put it on DigitalOcean. It used the DigitalOcean MCP and it got this website live in under 30 minutes, right? Because it was a very specific workflow, which I know works in a very specific way. And I've detailed it in the Claude.md file. And then I feed the specifics. Like all I do is feed it this, right? And it'll go away and it will make the entire website. I'm not going to do that now, but I'll just show you what that looks like. So I just send that here and then it will literally create the folder. It will create the entire Next.js website according to the behavior prompt. And then when I say push it to GitHub and put it on DigitalOcean, it will also do that for me. Okay, but one thing that's quite annoying is having to press enter constantly, right? If I just ran that prompt now, I would have to sit and press enter. The way to get around that is Claude dangerously skip permissions. I do not recommend doing Claude dangerously skip permissions if you're working on something complicated. If you're doing a basic programming task or if you're creating a project from nothing, use it. If you're editing a current live project, do not use it. Instead, if you're doing something which requires a large amount of intelligence or thought, or you're working on an important project, you need to sit and watch Claude Code, okay? It will do things that you do not want it to do. It will mess things up. It will get things wrong, especially since it started getting less and less intelligent. And you really, really have to watch over it. I do not recommend using Claude dangerously skip permissions on already existing projects because it will mess things up. It will hard code things, right? So you have to watch Claude Code when making complicated third-party API codes as well. This is because if something fails once or twice or 3 times, it will try to hard code a test. So you will think you've built an entire project when really it's just a series of connected console log statements which pass the test. So be extremely wary of that fact. Now, number 5, use Opus as much as possible, especially with larger projects. It's often not worth having Sonnet do a load of coding for you on a large, complicated project, as it'll just basically make shit up. Something else that's important to note here is once you start to get to the point where a project looks something like this, obviously there's a lot of bloat here that needs to be removed, but once you've got a huge project like this, you're going to have problems coding with any coding tool that you use, right? Claude Code included. Now, one thing that I really want to mention is Docker CLI and GitHub CLI, and also the DigitalOcean MCP and also the Supabase MCP. This is effectively a stack, which means you can do pretty much every single website type, and you probably need Stripe as well, actually, obviously, but like you can basically do anything with this stack, and you don't have to necessarily understand what's going on. Now, I prompted this yesterday. Let me just give you a quick example of something, okay? I didn't even know that this was possible until yesterday. All I said to Claude Code was, obviously I have Docker desktop installed, but I said, set me up a WordPress environment so that I can dev locally, right? And that's exactly what it did. So what Docker allows you to do is it allows you to run things like WordPress locally on your machine without any local WordPress or local WP or whatever, no other services, just literally just Docker. Also, the really cool thing about Docker is DigitalOcean can use a Docker file to create the project, right? So if you can make something run locally inside Docker, it should, theoretically speaking, run inside DigitalOcean in exactly the same way, because the setup file is in Docker, and both Docker and DigitalOcean will use the same setup file, right? So you're not changing files. You don't have to worry about this, that, and the other. And, oh, I was coding on Windows and now this is on Linux. What do I do? Everything just slots nicely together. You push it to GitHub. You have a Docker file. It is pushed to DigitalOcean with the Docker file. And then when you push to GitHub, any changes that you make, it will automatically trigger a rebuild inside DigitalOcean. And that entire flow is really, really essential to making like a more complicated project. Now, the other thing is databases. I would recommend using something like MySQL or use SQLite connected to Supabase, right? So SQLite you can use while you're deving, right? As long as you tell Claude Code from the beginning, I do eventually want to use Supabase, or you can just start using Supabase from the very beginning. The Supabase MCP works extremely well. It's nice to have SQLite so that you can have like coding, local code that any AI can read to understand how your database works. If everything sits on Supabase, that's a little bit more difficult. Now, number 7 is think about your tech stack beforehand. If you're not technical, I would recommend either A, sticking with something like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Flask. Flask is just a way to have a web server on Python. You could also use Fast API. You could use PHP. You could use Next.js. There's a million different options, right? But if you're not technical, just stick to something very, very simple, or ask an AI to give you a tech stack and then give that to Claude Code and struggle through potentially a few issues with that. Now, the final thing is if you're making a complicated project, right, I recommend using context engineering as a base. The reason is this video here, for example, it's a very, very good way to make a very, very complicated project. When I made SEO Grove, I kind of wish I had context engineering from the beginning because I could have given it a very, very good, solid base. Whereas, it's working now. SEO Grove is pretty much ready to launch. I'm super, super excited to actually launch this project, but it is a little bit bloated and there are still a couple of issues that we need to iron out just because of, not having the tech stack fully thought out and not using context engineering from the very beginning. I would not recommend context engineering for something like a service website or a WordPress website. It's overkill. Claude Code already understands Next.js at a decent level to make a Next.js site or a WordPress site or even HTML, CSS, and JavaScript service website. If you're making just a simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript website as well, you might not even need context engineering. You only really need context engineering if you're making a very complicated SaaS project or application or whatever it might be. I'll leave the video there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching all the way to the end of the video, as usual, you're an absolute legend, and I will see you very, very soon with some more content. Peace out.